Hi everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. Do you want to see one of the best cards that I've created in a good long while? All right, buckle up because this card turns out so cute that I want to just recreate it every time someone graduates. So I'm using this Smart Cookie stamp set. I have the coordinating dies as well. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to have fun playing with color. So I'm bringing in some of my favorite colors from Concord and Ninth. I have watermelon, creamsicle, and nectar. These are beautiful, warm colors and they work so well together. You are going to want to add these to cart because this turns out so fun and just fresh. So I'm going to start off with the watermelon, and I am just going ahead and doing this on 80-pound cardstock. You can do this on watercolor paper if you'd like, but I know further down the road in this project, I want to go ahead and do some stamping right on my panel. And because watercolor cardstock has a bit of a texture to it, I didn't want to risk not having a really clean impression with my stamp. So I'm just doing it on regular cardstock. I find that it works really well, but you can do this on watercolor cardstock if you wish. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do the exact same thing with this creamsicle. And sorry, I should have mentioned I have some water right off the screen here, and I'm just watering down my brush and getting this ink nice and kind of watered down so that it just gives more of a fun watercolor look right on the paper. And then I'm gonna finish up this little trio with nectar. And again, these colors are just so fun together. They're really pretty. I'm noticing right now though that it's looking like a heart. So I do end up deciding to go back through and just kind of restructure some of my colors. That way it takes more of a circular look. I didn't want it to just scream heart because that wasn't where I was going here. So you can see how I just went ahead and made it a little bit more round. Okay, I'm going to use the same color on color. So watermelon on watermelon, creamsicle on creamsicle, and nectar on nectar to add some splatters right on those sections. And I love that look. It's just so visually interesting. Now it's time to have fun with the stamp. So this stamp set is so cute. I've had this in my collection for a while, and if you've been following my channel, you know that one of my goals lately is to shop my craft room and not purchase what I don't need. Sometimes I get really excited about shopping and adding to cart, and then some of my supplies just sit around unnoticed and unappreciated. So now this year I'm going through, digging through all of those unused supplies, and I'm having so much fun. It's kind of making me feel guilty though, because some of these cards are turning out so cute that it makes me wish I would have done them quicker. So, okay, back to the stamping. I'm using a really fun ink called Memento Tuxedo Black, and I chose this because I'm going to use Copics to color next, and this ink works really well with Copics. So I ended up adding the little glasses and nose, so adding a little face to my cookie, and in the end I just really didn't like it. So I went ahead and stamped just a plain cookie. Just know that you can go through and add some faces to your cookie if you'd like, but for me I just wasn't digging it, so I went ahead and used a blank one. Okay, all of the Copics that I'm using are going to be listed down below. So don't worry, you don't have to pause if you don't want to and write down all of these numbers, but I'll list them in the description box below with all my supplies. That way, if you like how this turns out and you want to add any of these colors to your collection, you can. So I'm going over my little graduation cap. We're going to do pink. I'm making this graduation card for a girl, and what I'm going to do is add some all over color with my lighter color, and then with my darker color, I'm going to add some highlights. Then I'll grab that lighter color once more and create a little bit of a mid-tone just by blending out that shadow. And I have found that coloring with alcohol markers has been pretty much the joy of 2024 for me. I've made it my goal to pull for my markers more and more. You're going to see a lot of coloring on my channel coming up because I've just fallen in love with it. I've really made an effort to get better at it, and I have really liked how my cards have been turning out the more I practice. Okay, again, all the colors will be linked down below, but I added a little bit of yellow to that little tassel, and then I added the pink just to kind of get everything coordinated to the little tie on the diploma. Then I'll work on the cookie, adding a lighter brown all over and then a darker shade right on top. Again, just like the graduation cap, I'm going to use the lighter color to kind of blend out and create a mid-tone. This turns out so pretty. I love how this looks. I have to say too, I'm running out of one of my Copic markers. It's the very first time I am. Surprised me that it was a brown, but it ended up still turning out even though we are running low on that color. So grabbing those coordinating dies, I'm going to use some washi tape just to secure them around my little stamps so they don't do any shifting as I send them through my little mini die cut machine. And then I'm just going to send them right on through and trim them out, and they look so cute. I love it. I should say also that I used my panel to take over to my Copics just so I could coordinate that pink really, really well because I wanted everything to work super well with the background as well. Then I'm going to use some liquid glue here, and I'm just going to attach that little cap right to the top of my cookie. So the cookie is like the little face here. It's so cute. In the end, this card is going to say one smart cookie, and I'm here for it for the puns. I love a cute pun. I think they're just so adorable. And Lawn Fawn does a really great job of doing cute little puns for their stamp set. Okay, so originally this panel was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but I'm going to go ahead and just take off 1/8 of an inch off of each side just so that my panel is slightly smaller than my card base. I like that look, so it's worth it to me just to trim it down. So the final dimensions are going to be 4 by 5 1/4, and it looks so pretty. This time I have 110-pound cardstock, and I'm going to do an A2 size card. That A2 size is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm going to bring in my MISTI so that I can use it to secure my little panel and do some stamping. Like I said, the reason I use just regular cardstock is because I knew in the end I wanted to stamp my little sentiment directly onto the card base. So I wanted a nice smooth surface that just regular cardstock offers to do this part. I really like the look of stamping a sentiment right on the card base. I think it adds so much simplicity, and I've been doing it more and more. So again, I did say it was going to say you're one smart cookie, but I'm going to stamp the sentiment out separate. They are on 2 different lines. And the reason I do this is so that my little sentiment can get really, really close to one another. If you stamp them at the same time, they kind of get a bit of a space in between them. But if you do them one by one, then you have ultimate control on how close you connect those between one another. So the top line to the bottom line is what I'm meaning there. So you're one smart cookie, which I think is probably the cutest sentiment ever. And there it is, so cute. I did double stamp this because I double stamped my little stamps for the cookie and the hat and the diploma. So if I double stamp one element of my card, I double stamp everything. That way the contrast is remaining the same throughout the card. All right, final steps here are adding foam tape to the back of this panel. I'm going to add 4 little strips here just to give it a little boost, give it some dimension. And then also because sometimes you get a little bit of warping. On this card, I really didn't get too much, but sometimes when you're bringing water into your piece, you can warp your cardstock a bit. And by using the foam tape, it really flattens that out really quickly. Now what I'm going to do is add some foam squares to add some additional dimension. I have these larger foam squares and I added a couple, but I'm also going to bring in a smaller set of foam squares. That way I can use them on the small little tassel here, but also the little diploma. So having multiple sizes is super, super helpful, and it makes this a really easy part of the project. Okay, so then I'm going to, do I mention it's so sticky? It's so sticky. So you can use some tweezers. I'm just using my little fingers here, but I'm going to attach my little cookie and diploma right to the center. Oh, this looks so cute, and I love the tones. I feel like everything just coordinates so beautifully together. I think, actually, I know this is probably my favorite card that I've made in a really long time. I find that I say that quite often, which I think is a good thing, that I feel like I keep upping my card game and impressing myself each time. It's just making it exciting because it feels that card making to me is just not going to get boring. So I love that. And I just love how I have such a small little template here and I can get so creative on such a little small surface area. It's so fun. All right, on the back side, I am doing my little stamp. You also saw me add those little dewdrop embellishments. They're so sweet and they dry clear. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. Everything will be listed down below, and I'll see you in the next video.